Hello everyone, Hachadino over here, and today we are doing the weekly Rogue Sublety state. As always, do remember that we have a cool spreadsheet where you can check everything. As always, it's going to be in the card that is going to appear soon, and it has a lot of good informations and this cool playlist for the Sub Rogue Weekly. Now let's go. This is the overall on all bosses on just damage. As you can see, Sublety Rogue is very high, mainly because we have quite a decent amount of damage and we can snipe on a lot of fights. This is only, of course, 2 weeks. So, as always, some bosses that don't have a lot of parses will have some problems. Of course, this is mythic and we already have around 50,000 parses, so it should be more reliable now. Now, let's go into boss by boss. If you want to also see boss damage, you may see that assassination is a little bit higher than sub, mainly because they will do more boss damage if they just focus on doing that. Sublety usually does play Trickster that does less boss damage and also uses skills in a different way to pad a little bit more on some bosses. Now, Imperator Aversion, it's going to be Sublety, of course. And then we do have here Outlaw. Also has some decent amount of cliff, but the problem mainly for the other rogue specs is that they don't have fast AoE. So when the ads spawn and they are going to be alive for like 10 seconds because your team has a lot of damage, then Sub-Rogue will go in there and use one dance in those 8 seconds or 9, depending on how much haste you have. It's going to do quite a bit of damage. And then they die, and Sub-Rogue is going to be decent. Now let's go into Voracious. Here is the same thing as a rogue. If you focus the boss, if your goal is to just focus the boss, you get the little ad and you vanish, so it goes to somewhere else. That's going to be one thing. Outlaw and Assassination are going to be doing almost the same. Sub-Rogue does have a little bit of cliff that it can do, so if you put boss damage, Assassination can be higher, as you can see here. But Sub does do a little bit of cliff, so you usually end up doing more damage than them. Decays are just super good on this fight, mainly because apart from doing cliff, Frost Decay is also very strong in single target. You may see more Sub-Rogues going Deathstalker over the weeks, because also Deathstalker is very good in Valorant and Lura. So for Voracious and Salhadar, maybe you will see more rogues going into this spec. That's why also you will see Sub-Rogue on the top here on Salhadar on overall damage and also on damage to bosses is going to be very good. You can see here almost the same as Assassination, but you do have some more cliff. And then of course Frost Death Knight is also doing a lot of damage, and Shadow Priest just does super cliff and also decent boss damage. Now, of course, as more people are going to play Deathstalker, you may see the boss damage even going higher. And we also got buffed this week somehow. Now, for Bilegore and Ezorak, Sub-Rogue is actually the kind of only spec of rogues that can pad quite a bit. Our 2-target cliff is nothing crazy, but we get orbs so often that we can snipe them very well with Secret Technique and some Black Powders. But if you see damage to bosses, we are kinda on the low end. Our cliff is nothing crazy. Outlaw is going to do a lot more, and Assassination just has a decent cliff. Now for the Vanguard, I think we can escape this one. And Sublety may go a little bit up because of some things, but it's going to be as bad as you might think. We don't do a lot of damage. A lot of the fight is 3-target cliffs that got super nerfed, and 2-target cliff we are even worse, so we can escape that one. Chimeros, we are one of the best padders, let's say, and as a rogue also you can go into all phases. Like you can go into the first one, then use cloak on the other one, then have the intermission going into the second group, the one that is outside. The same thing, go inside on the first one and then use cloak to go on the second one, and of course that will do a lot of pad, and we also do decent damage to bosses. As you can see here, we are top 5. assassination can just tunnel the boss, of course, so they will do a little bit more on that front. Now let's go into Velo Ren. This is a little bit hard to say because not a lot of assassination or outlaw is played at all. Like you can see here, there are only 71 and 86 parses versus like 1000 of sub, so the data is going to be very skewed, but they are decent, trust me. The problem is that Sublety is the spec that can take resources from the other phase and put them into the egg phase. So when the egg phase was more important, Sublety was very strong because you could end the egg phase, begin the egg phase with your cooldowns, and also some superchargers and some unseen blades from our trickster talents. Now you may see also people playing Deathstalker because that one is actually quite good. And with Darkest Night and other things, we do a lot of damage to the egg. Also in those 40 seconds you have kind of blades, and then you have Lingering Darkness that it's also quite strong. So you will use 4 dances in those 40 seconds and have a lot of damage. And then we don't really talk that much about Lura. Sublety is going to be still the most represented spec. You can see here 300 parses versus 6 and 21. I don't think that's going to change a lot. You will see, of course, more Deathstalkers as things go up because we got buffed. And now it's around 6 to 5% ahead of Trickster, single target. And if your rate already has decent crystal damage, you will see that our damage to bosses is going to be going quite a bit up. On this case, Sublety right now is the one that does less because we do spend some of our power taking dances a little bit more to pad on those crystals instead of doing them on cooldown. So we lose 1 or 2 dances maybe depending on how the fight goes into the first phase. But into other things, that's kind of it for the rate places. I do want to do the also Mythic Plus things, but I have been looking at data, and to be honest, there's not a lot to say about Sublety. We have some representation in 14s, 15s, and then after 17s, the representation goes way down. Then it goes up because some people are just so good at the game that they get invited anyway. And there's not much to do. So we're going to scrap that. Maybe on other seasons when we can have more, or if people really want to look at the Mythic Plus data, we can look into those other things. But remember that we are kind of focusing on Mythic, like all of these things are Mythic things. On Heroic, a lot of things change. Like if you see on all bosses Heroic, so it is going to be ahead because it's actually not a super hard spec. And with the new changes and things, we do our master snipers. We snipe what we can and we do decent boss damage. So that's everything. Have a nice day and I will see you on the next video.